Product sustaining costs are costs which relate specifically to products. So we know that, for example, design costs relate to a certain product because you can separate these activity. And the fourth category is the facility sustaining cost. This is basically the cost pool which has no real good cause and effect relationship. This is the remaining cost pool which cannot be allocated to products, to batches, or to the output of the production. We have some examples for unit level cost, which is energy, depreciation, repairs also, which very much depends on the running time when you produce something. Batch level cost, again, these are setup costs. We have cost also for shipments. For example, if you have different packages, package sizes for shipments, then the shipment cost might be the same when you ship 50 units or 5,000 units. It's based on the shipments, not on the units per shipment. When it comes to setup cost, again, setup hours would be an appropriate cost driver for batch level cost. Product sustaining cost, again, these costs relate to a product, and it's about trying to determine which of the indirect costs have a direct relationship to specific products. Designing and engineering is part of it. Then we come to the rest. Facility sustaining costs have no direct relationships to the products. General administration, rent, security, and so on are examples for that. So we come to the classification in a second. But now let's go over the process of activity-based costing. The first process is clear. The first process step, it's identifying cost objects. We have these two different kinds of lenses. The second is that we identify the direct cost, and when we start activity-based costing, we should try to identify as much direct cost as possible. Third is, when it comes to indirect cost, it's identifying the activities, the cost drivers for the indirect cost. Once you have identified the activities, it's about to allocate the total indirect cost to the different activities and to determine the cost allocation rate for each activity. Once you have that cost allocation rate to the activity, you need to determine how much of the activities is required for a certain product, and that means then you are able to calculate total indirect cost related to your products. That's basically what we do right now for our example. Basically, you do it at the very end. Identifying the chosen cost objects, it's clear, normal lenses and complex lenses. Identifying direct cost, remember we have, 10 minutes ago, we have identified 7 different activities, 7 different processes in the indirect cost area. One of them was mold cleaning and maintenance. And when people think more sophisticatedly about this, you can treat these costs as direct costs related to products, because cleaning and the molds and maintenance can be separate because they are different molds. So the 360,000 are taken from the initial indirect cost pool and treated as direct cost. Because these costs are costs which can be clearly identified in relationship to the 2 different lenses. How do you determine direct cost now? You take them from the initial calculation, and you add the cleaning and maintenance cost. For normal lenses, you know, we have out of 720 batches overall, 320 batches relate to the normal lenses and 400 relate to the complex lenses. So batch level cost for normal lenses are 160, while 200,000 refer to the complex lenses. First step or second step is done. We have identified as much direct cost as possible. So now let's go to the indirect cost. We have 6 remaining activities. Here you find them. And we need to determine the cost drivers for these activities. So the design has been determined that it's square meter, parts square meter as a cost driver. The setup cost have been allocated or are to be allocated based on setup hours. Machine operations will be allocated based on machine hours. Shipment setup on the numbers of shipments, and the distribution cost is based on the cubic meters of that shipments. And administration, we do not have a clear cause and effect relationship. So for this remaining cost pool, we stay with our initial allocation base, which are manufacturing labor hours. So when it comes to identifying the indirect cost associated with each of the cost allocation bases, we have already done that for the setup cost, 409,000. We know that setup hours are 640 for the normal lenses and 2,000 for the complex lenses, and we can allocate this. And we'll do the same as we have done for the setup hours for the other activities. And once you have allocated that, you can, or once you have determined the allocation rate for each cost pool, you can allocate the total cost pool of each cost, the total cost of each cost pool to the products. And now this is the seventh step, that we add all the costs together. And I have a nice example. And this example is based, this is what you see here. We have done these steps here already. So we have determined that 2.5 million overall relates to 6 different cost pools. We have determined this is the amount of cost. You see the setup cost now 409,000, for example. You see all the other cost pools. Now you have determined the allocation base. Labor hours for administration, cubic meters for distributions, number of shipments, and you know that you need 450 cubic meters, 250 shipments, 10,000 machine hours, and again 2,640 setup hours, 100 of parts square meter. You also know the allocation of which is used for normal and for complex lenses. You know this has been done for you as a preparation of your exercise, that 360 cubic meter out of 450 relate to normal lenses, 90 relate to complex lenses. Shipments are together 250, out of which 125 are complex lenses, 125 are normal lenses, and so on. You find the Excel form of this example on Moodle. And not the right thing. Your task is to determine exactly. You should find that Excel file on Moodle, right? Have you? And your task is now to finalize this spreadsheet. These are all the information I have shown you on the PowerPoint before. Here, it's about to determine how much costs are related to the two products. Your task in the next 10 minutes.